The best of the week on Relevant Radio.
My name is Jessica Cox, and I'm the world's first armless pilot and the CEO of Jessica Cox Motivational Services.
Please welcome Jessica Cox.
Never give up. Be persistent. Walls are only there to stop the people who don't want it badly enough.
My wish for each and every one of you is to have a burning desire, an endless persistence, and an unconquerable fearlessness.
Since the beginning, I've had to learn how to do new. From living life without arms in a world that was designed for arms, I learned how to become independent.
At the age of 6 years old, I learned the importance of thinking outside the shoe. Inevitably, kids come up to me and ask, "What happened?" This is what happens when you don't eat your veggies. Desire is 80% of success. We can have all the talent in the world, but if we don't have the desire, we are not working with much.
And joining us live this morning is Jessica Cox herself, a Catholic motivational speaker who is about to share her absolutely incredible and amazing story. Good morning, Jessica. Thanks so much for joining us. It is a blessing to be with you for the first time here on Morning Air and Relevant Radio.
Good morning. I'm glad to be on. Thank you for having me.
Well, Jessica, for those just hearing a little bit about your story, take us back to the beginning. What was it like growing up as a young kid without arms, and how did your Catholic faith shape those early years?
Well, it was a huge part of shaping me for sure, because when I was growing up, it wasn't always easy to be different and wonder, why am I the only one who's different? You know, I had an older brother, a younger sister, friends, parents, everyone in the community had arms, and I didn't. So I really had this question of why me, and why did God make me this way? And when I'd ask that question, my mom would often say, "Be patient, Jessica, God has a great plan for you." And I feel very fortunate that I grew up in such a strong Catholic faith that it became the answer to many of my questions, and it started this relationship that I had with the Lord, of course, and getting through the hardships and difficult times, and being there for those difficult days. And it wasn't easy in the beginning, I'll be honest, but then I realized, as it started to become obvious to me, that this was a true gift.
Well, there's no doubt that your parents had a huge influence on your early life. When you reflect back, how big was it to learn from them, and also their example of how they lived their Catholic faith?
To learn from them was everything. As a child, you look up to your parents, and I would often do. For example, some of those wonderful moments is when I was 5 years old, and I grabbed a hold of a rosary because I saw everyone was praying the rosary, and I used my toes to move the beads of the rosary. And that was like, I was hooked at the moment with praying the rosary, and it became a part of my life. It became a part of every evening we'd pray the rosary as a family. And so that, of course, I'd always go to church, and every Sunday it was something we did as a family, and as well as always going to CCD classes and go through all those different things like First Communion and everything like that. So it was all definitely instrumental in my foundation and helping me to really surrender my challenges, because it wasn't always easy. While I did adapt to using my feet as I do today, there were some times emotionally where I was like, why am I so different from everyone else? And that's where faith came in to really be that reinforcement that there is a reason, that this is a gift, and it can be, that I can surrender my challenges to the Lord. And he has done some incredible things in my life that are sometimes unexplainable, but have been such a wonderful way to witness the wonderful love that he has for us and the resilience he has in us, that we can, and first that we are enough, however it is that we come into the world, and that we can really do wonderful things in the world. I mean, just the various things that have crossed my path and have become opportunities for me that have turned into successes. It's even hard for me to think about it when I look back over the years.
Well, Jessica, just as you share the story of how you learned to pray the rosary as a 5-year-old, it's easy to kind of take for granted that you were doing it with your feet. But I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. How did you learn how to do it? Did your mom help you? I mean, and then obviously you can still do it to this day. I've seen pictures of you holding the rosary with your feet.
I just naturally picked up the rosary because from the earliest of times, I was always thinking my toes and my feet. I didn't think any different. They were my hands and they were my arms. And just for example, I mean, I took apart, I think at age 3, I took apart a ballpoint pen, and my uncle would watch me do this. I'd take it completely apart, and then I put it back together. And the dexterity in my toes was something that came naturally, adapting to what I have. And I did have wonderful feet, though I didn't have the hands.
Absolutely incredible. Part of your lifetime of adapting has also been becoming a 4th degree a black belt in Taekwondo. What did you learn from Taekwondo that has applied to everyday life and is still with you?
Oh, well, John, I actually started Taekwondo when I was 10, and I was always insecure and very self-conscious at times. I would look down all the time. And one of the things when I started off in Taekwondo was that I was always told by my instructor to keep your eye level up. That's a part of defense. That's a part of just good posture and keeping your eyes up. And I just constantly was constantly told, look up, keep your eye level up. And over time, eventually, I was able to bring my eye level up and instill this confidence. And it made me look more confident. And obviously, it was better for me than to always look down self-consciously. And that confidence that came with the training of Taekwondo was incredible for me.
All right. If Taekwondo wasn't enough, you also became the world's first licensed pilot to fly using only your feet. Talk to us about what that experience has been like and how you did it.
Well, I have been a go-getter from the very beginning, and that was just in me, and it was just like my mother as well. We were adventurous, go-getters, and nothing really stopped me. I mean, I would do things from, Taekwondo to Girl Scouts to dance lessons to everything you ever gave me the opportunity to do. And at times it was also about proving that I could do it. But there was always one thing that I was absolutely terrified of, and that was flying. And I always talked about never letting fear stand in the way of an opportunity. And I thought it was just this wonderful opportunity it challenged my faith as well, because it really gave me this relationship of reliance that with God all things are possible, and that I could overcome my even greatest fear because He is always there with you and with me. And it was like, even in the moment from when I took off in this airplane, I'd never been in a small airplane, and it was just 3 flights in that I decided, actually it was 1 flight, and I decided I wanted to conquer my greatest fear and become this pilot to just get over it and to believe that I can do anything with God. And sure enough, it fell in line. It did take me a lot longer. I'd say 3 times, maybe 6 times longer than the average pilot who wants to go out there and become perhaps a private pilot. But for me, it was just like, I want to get this done. I need to get over my fear. Fear is something that exists for all of us, and I need to be that example when I speak to audiences, that you don't let fear stand in the way, because we have such a profound faith that comes into our lives when it is that those human moments and emotions of fear, of insecurity, of self-doubt, of can I do this? Am I capable? Am I enough? And all those things get washed away when faith comes into play, and it really helps you to rise above. And that for me is what aviation is knowing that I am not alone and that I can do difficult things. The Lord helps us to do difficult things that stretch our comfort zones and our emotions. And with Him, we can do anything.
Is flying for you a spiritual experience, an opportunity to really connect with the good Lord and to show that you really trust Him?
It is definitely that experience. I pray every single time I take off. And when I pray, and I also pray to the patron of aviators, St. Joseph, and when I take off in the sky, knowing that they are the St. Joseph and the Lord is there with me, I can do incredible things, and I rise to the occasion to be a very responsible pilot. So without that faith, I would not be up there flying. I'll tell you that for sure.
Are you flying a custom cockpit, so that it's easier?
No, just standard. It's
a regular standard?
Totally standard, regular, unmodified aircraft, a 1946 415-seat Ercoupe airplane.
That is so awesome. Well, I know you have been touching a lot of hearts and minds with your speeches as a motivational speaker, speaking in over 28 countries. Share with us a little bit about what that's like to see these huge audiences and share your message of hope.
Well, that is the most incredible thing. When I look out in the audience and people make that connection, and to be that witness in places that maybe I don't even talk about my Catholic faith, but I know the Holy Spirit is working through me because he is touching those lives, people who need that hope and that little bit of encouragement that they can keep going, they can persevere and get through their own adversities in life.
That was the Best of the Week on Relevant Radio. The best way to listen to the Best of the Week is on the Relevant Radio app, free and always free. Download and share the #1 free Catholic app today in the App Store.